Hey everyone, it's Jill here. Another live video. I have makeup on today. I did my show, unless I rubbed it all off. I haven't taken it off yet. I think I'm playing tennis tonight. My husband just messaged if I wanted to, so I'll take it off before that, I think. The show, I don't know how the show went. The guy, it was a new guy doing it for me, and he didn't have a timer set up, and then when he did, it went off in the middle, so I totally lost my train of thought, and we'll see how it goes. It was about happiness, and happiness being inside of us, and I don't know. I felt like I was totally all over the place with it, but who knows? Sometimes I listen to them later, and they're fine. But it should be out maybe later today, or hopefully tomorrow. I'll look for it, and I'll post it for you guys. The Victim of Thought show. Hopefully you've watched episodes 1 and 2 already, which are out on the YouTube channel. What else? Oh, coping. Somebody, I think it was Wendy, posted a question about coping, which is sort of, I don't know if that's against the rules or whatever, but we don't like symptom posts and things like that here. And coping kind of fits in with that because it's totally not what this is about. You know, there's a million anxiety forums and stuff like that that talk about all different methods and, hi Christine, and ways of coping with your anxiety or whatever. But that's totally got nothing to do with what we talk about here. What I talk about, what Nicola talked about when she was running the group. Hi Becky. We're just coping. Coping becomes obsolete, is what I told her in the forum. When we learn this understanding, I think she then said something else in her question, like, all right, how do I use the inside out understanding to feel better, or so it wasn't that, but it was something like that. And that's another common misconception of what we're doing here, because this is not about this isn't a method, a procedure, a process. Hi Lynn. And Lisa, hi. It's not a process or a methodology or anything like that. And see, that's why this is so different. Because I know all you guys, or many of you, have been through all sorts of programs and therapy and I don't know whatever else. Lots of different stuff where you learned how to cope with your anxiety or any other issues. And that's the thing. You don't have to do that. There's nothing. It's not about coping. There's nothing. I can't give you. Hi Lynn, 2 Lyns. Hi Lynn and Lynn, 1 N and 2 N's. This is nothing to do with like how to, again, the how to thing. I talk about that every time too, because of course those are all your questions. How to, but that's not the point. So the point with this is simply, I know I'm a broken record. It's simply to understand how the world works. Inside out, not outside in. So there's nothing to do, there's nothing to cope with. In Wendy's case, I think she said she was agoraphobic, and so she mostly stays in her house. But the problem, quotes, if you will, I think from what I understand with what she was asking about is she doesn't like it. She's not happy with that. She doesn't want to be doing that, which I don't blame her. Nobody would want to do that. She feels like she's missing out and all that kind of stuff. So it's a paradox, because that becomes the problem. Like my other video the other day about second thoughts. It's those are second thoughts that now she's added on to the problem. So she was, she's got this fear of going too far out of her house, or she can do it a little bit, but not always. And that's the primary thing. which in and of itself is what it is, right? It is what it is. But it's the beating herself up about it, or I think she said, her mom, complains about it and stuff like that. And that adds all those secondary, third, fourth, fifth, sixth rounds of thought on top of it. And that's where we suffer. That's what's probably causing Wendy's suffering. And I know it sounds ridiculous, and I wouldn't even say this except that I know that this is what Nicola has said for her, because I've never been agoraphobic, so I can't really relate to that. But Nicola Bird has, and she's the one that started this group, and many of you know her, and you can watch her old videos still here in the group. But that's what helped her with the same very issue, was when she realized, and this wasn't something she forced herself to do, but when she realized that she was actually okay if the rest of her life was spent in her room or whatever in her house, then she was okay, and she would be okay, and that could be her life for the rest of her life. And it was then, when she was okay with it, that things started to change for her, because she really was okay. She didn't just pretend to be okay. It's the fighting. She was fighting it before. And I'm assuming that's the same as what Wendy's doing, and many other of you in this group who have that same issue. You're fighting it. It's the secondary thoughts and the thirdary thoughts and whatever the real word is for that. That's what's the add-on. That's what's causing the problem. Coping doesn't really even fit in this case, because it's just being okay, and being okay with what is, because it is what is. It feels weird to say it because you think you should be able to change it or do something about it, and it doesn't feel right to be okay with it because you don't want to live the rest of your life that way. But I'm not talking about being okay with what may or may not happen in the future. Just being okay with, this is the situation, this is how it is. I'm okay with it. It is okay, because it is okay. How can it not be okay? It's what's happening right now. It has to be okay. Lynn McGowan said, I'm an NLP practitioner, but this understanding has been much more useful to me. Cool. That's awesome. I mean, that's what happened to Michael Neal as well, and Jamie Smart, if you've heard of them. Big NLP people who moved into this when they heard about this understanding. Just completely switched over from NLP. It explains why NLP works, from my understanding. I never even heard of NLP until I heard of this understanding. I'm just looking to see if anyone else has had any questions. I don't see them, but they don't always show up. So it's not a coping strategy. It's not a methodology. It's not a process. It's just understanding. It's just being okay with what is, even though it feels like shit. It feels like shit. I'm not going to lie to you. If you're having major anxiety, you're probably feeling like shit. And that's the key, is to be okay feeling like shit. Because when you're not, then you're feeling like double shit, triple shit, quadruple shit, because you've had second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh thoughts on top of it. And that's what makes you feel worse. You just feel like, with just the primary shit feelings, you just feel a little like shit. But it's the other stuff that we add on. And that stuff's optional. It's optional. I know we can't control our thoughts and blah, blah, blah. But we can see how we feel, and we can observe from a different place and know that we are okay, because we are what's underneath all that stuff. And, it always really comes back down to that we're not our thoughts. We're what's underneath the thoughts. And that piece of us is okay. That piece of us doesn't care if we're living in one little room, or we're living in a mansion, or we're traveling the world. That piece of us, the true self that's underneath, loves all experience. Loves all experience. It's consciousness. Consciousness. I said it. So I will end it here and get rid of this makeup and get ready for tennis. Bye-bye.